Now, help me and welcome Debra McCloskey Todd.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here. I was a little embarrassed when Mr. Vicari said that the Historical Society wanted to honor me. You know, it makes you feel like you're no spring chicken, but I'm just so excited to be here and to see so many friends. Thank you, each of you, for coming this evening, and I want to express my sincere gratitude to Everett/Ellsworth Blakeney, to Dom Vicari, and the Ellwood City Area Historical Society for this tremendous honor. Mr. Vicari, I am simply overwhelmed by your generosity of spirit, so thank you. Thank you so much. I also discovered this evening when I saw the program and talked to the Vicaris that Mrs. Vicari is a trained detective and is skilled in the investigation arts, because she found a lot of stuff about me that I just didn't know would be out there. So thank you for that. I'd like to recognize some of our honored guests. First of all, our mayor, Tony Court, my classmate. Thank you so much for being here. And Tony, you were handsome in high school, but you've kind of grown into this Alec Baldwin look now. You're still very handsome, but and accomplished. Are you Italian? Yes, well, most of the boys in our class at Lincoln High School were Italian. I was Irish, and we used to say if Irish eyes are smiling, it's probably because they're looking at an Italian. I'd like to recognize our other honored guests. Commissioner Dan Vogler. Where are you, Dan? Yeah, thank you for being here. And our members of the judiciary, President Judge Motto, Judge Cox, Judge Cartwright, would you all stand up? Thank you so much for being here. There he is. And our Ellwood City Council members, Marilyn Mancini, James Berry, and George Selly. Would you stand up? Thank you for being here. I thought we might get some politicians running for office because there is an election in November, and as someone who had to campaign all over the state, I know wherever there's an event with more than 100 people, the candidates show up. So there may be others here that I've missed. Special thanks to my classmates from Lincoln High School, where I was a student some 40 years and 40 pounds ago. Could you guys stand up? I'm so glad to see you all. Class of 75. Woohoo! I just love you all, and there are so many success stories out there. Someone who couldn't be here tonight is the most famous member of our class, and that is Bishop Ed Burns, who grew up and went on to become the Bishop of Dallas. So he is quite the success story, and we have many, many from our class. Ann Landers once said, at age 20, we worry about what people think of us. At age 40, we don't care what they think of us. At age 60, we discover they haven't been thinking of us at all. So thank you for thinking of me. I'm very proud to be an Ellwood City native and a graduate of Lincoln High School. I attribute much of my success to my high school classmates. They voted me most likely to succeed, and I never wanted to disappoint them. Abraham Lincoln once said, I am a success today because I had a friend who believed in me, and I didn't have the heart to let him down. I've always loved that because we should never underestimate the value of a kind word or a vote of confidence. As I was growing up, I was blessed every day to have had the unwavering support of my family. I'm sorry that my parents, Harry and Blanche McCloskey, could not have lived to see me become a justice on the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. I had the most loving, inspiring, and supportive parents anyone could hope for. I was raised on Park Avenue, a couple of blocks from the school, and we had wonderful neighbors who looked out for one another, the Fanaries, the Wilkowskis, the Turners. I know Ken and Pam are here. And I grew up in the Calvin United Presbyterian Church, where my faith was firmly established, and I was so happy for many years to sing in the church choir. And I know there are some Calvin church people here, so welcome to you. I believe that it does take a village to raise a child, and nowhere is that more evident than in Ellwood City. My mother, for those of you, most of you did not know her, Blanche McCloskey, was the sweetest, kindest person in the world, and she was a strong woman. My mother encouraged every endeavor I ever had, and her faith and strength have been my inspiration. She was the model for the mother I was to become. I often look back to my childhood growing up on Park Avenue in the 1960s and think how remarkable my father was. Indeed, he was a man ahead of his time. My dad, you heard Everett talk about him a little bit, Harry McCloskey, was a steel worker at J&L in Aliquippa, and he was an avid and accomplished sportsman and coach. Yet, for all of his efforts in athletics, he was somehow rewarded with 3 daughters with no athletic ability whatsoever. Nonetheless, he took great pride in each of us and reveled in our academic and musical accomplishments. He attended every parade, dance recital, choir concert, and theatrical performance, and he truly believed that his daughters were the best thing since sliced bread. He took great pride in every mention of one of the McCloskey girls in the Ellwood City Ledger. Thank you, Blanche Novak. I was concerned that my dad, the sportsman, might be disappointed in the total void of athletic accomplishment among his progeny, so I once offered to try out for the girls' varsity basketball team. My dad had coached, among other sports, girls' basketball for decades. Ever the realist, however, with a full appreciation for my limitations as well as my potential, my dad advised me not to try out for the team. Truth be told, he said he was afraid I would hurt myself. I prudently heeded his advice and went on to less athletic and more academic pursuits. In a time period where it was still very common for young girls to limit their choices to more traditional paths, my parents, a steel worker and a homemaker, counseled me and my 2 sisters that for our futures, the sky was the limit. They constantly encouraged our academic pursuits as well as our volunteerism and community involvement. My sisters took this lesson to heart. My sister Mary Johnston, who is here, with my wonderful brother-in-law Bruce, became a first-grade teacher in York, Pennsylvania, a career she enjoyed for 35 years. After retiring, Mary founded a child care center, Sunbeam Station, which is a perfect name because Mary emits sunbeams wherever she goes. She serves as chairman of the board. She has faithfully guided that center for 16 years and has provided child care to hundreds of children. I'm very proud of you, Mary. My other sister, Nancy Woods, is also here with my other wonderful brother-in-law, Jim. Nancy was also a teacher and went on to launch and head the Beaver County Adult Literacy Action Program at Penn State for over 30 years. After retiring from that position, she began devoting all of her energy to her other mission, the Center for Hope, a multi-denominational, faith-based charity in Ambridge, which provides food, clothing, and other services to over 800 needy individuals each year. Nancy serves as chairman of the board of the Center for Hope. Are you beginning to see a pattern? I'm very proud of Nancy as well. I took a somewhat different track. At age 12, I decided to become a lawyer, and I never wavered from that goal. My parents supported me and cheered me on every step of the way. I worked every summer from the age of 12 through age 18 and part-time during the school years as a file clerk and secretarial assistant for an attorney with an office a few blocks from my home here in Ellwood. Perhaps some of you remember Jim and Beverly Keller. Mr. Keller was a brilliant, Harvard-educated lawyer who has long since passed away, and Beverly was his dynamic and inspirational office manager and legal secretary who is now enjoying retirement in Florida. The Kellers took an interest in me and ignited in me a lifelong passion for the law. My enthusiasm for a legal career grew with each passing year. I remember distinctly writing my 9th grade civics career goal paper with the title, Debbie Ann McCloskey, Attorney at Law. When I moved from Ellwood to Pittsburgh to attend Chatham College on an academic scholarship, I would call my parents with the occasional homesickness of a college freshman. I distinctly remember my father telling me that I could keep my nose to the grindstone and become a lawyer someday, or I could give up and come back home. It was entirely up to me. He would then say that he heard there was an opening for a clerk at the 5 and 10 on Lawrence Avenue. That always got me back on track. I wanted to tell you about my parents because I wanted you to know how much they meant to me and how responsible they are for whatever success I have achieved. My husband, Steve Todd, is here, as always, by my side. Steve is an accomplished attorney who had parallel legal careers. First, he served in the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General Corps, rising to the rank of colonel. I am very proud of his 29 years of military service, and I am privileged that he and I have been able to work together to establish and encourage veterans courts throughout Pennsylvania. Steve's other career was with U.S. Steel Corporation, which is where I met him, where he worked as an environmental law attorney and rose through the ranks to become the Vice President of Law and Environmental Affairs. More than all that, Steve is a wonderful husband, and we just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary last weekend. Nothing I have accomplished would have been possible without Steve's encouragement and support. I've often said it was my lucky day when I met Steve Todd. We are the proud parents of 3 grown children and 4 grandchildren. Our daughter Whitney is an attorney in Akron, Ohio. Our son Jason is a college English professor in New Orleans, Louisiana. Our youngest daughter, Alexandra, whom many of you know, graduated from New York University and became an actress. She has lived and worked in Los Angeles and New York City, and she would be here tonight if she were not in Chicago. Alex loves to perform. She sings, she dances. I have no idea where any of this came from. Alex is a force of nature. She also has a lifestyle blog called Mad About Manhattan, where she has somehow accumulated 40,000 followers. I would also like to acknowledge my judicial staff, 4 of whom are here this evening. Someone once said that the secret of success is to surround yourself with people who make up for your shortcomings. These are those people. First of all, Rhonda Campbell, my Chief Administrative Assistant. Could you stand, Rhonda, so people can see you? Rhonda has been with me for 32 years. Throughout my journey from attorney to judge to justice, Rhonda was the one person who has taken care of everything else and made it possible for me to focus on the law, and she still does. The Beach Boys song, Help Me Rhonda, could have been written about her. Sean Winters, who is here with his wife, Deanne. Deanne's not here, sorry. Just Sean Winters, is my amazing chief staff attorney. Sean is in charge of the law part of my chambers, and for the past 20 years, he has made all the wheels run smoothly. They are still running smoothly, right? Thank you. My deputy chief staff attorneys, Kim Collins and Jeff Bauman, are also here with their spouses, Craig and Ellen. Kim, who I call Kim Possible because she can do anything, has been with me for 20 years. And Jeff, who I call Professor Bauman because he is actually a law professor at Duquesne, has been with me for 12 years. As you can see, my staff is very important to me. They've demonstrated incredible devotion and longevity. We are kind of like the Hotel California. You can check out anytime you please, but you can never leave. These individuals form the brain trust that makes our operation a success, and I'm extremely lucky to have them. Over the years, I've also had the opportunity to hire many law school students as summer interns, some of whom hail from Ellwood City. These include Lauren Kelly, the daughter of Larry Kelly and my classmate Marisa Pecoraro Kelly, and Matthew Barnes, who was introduced to me by my classmate David Gabus during one of his annual field trips to our court session in Philadelphia with his Lincoln High School AP U.S. Government class. Also, Christian Kegel, who is here tonight, is the son of Scott and Kirby Kegel, and Christian served an internship with our court with my fellow colleague, Justice David Wecht. So we have some people here tonight who are interested in law. We have some students, and if anyone is interested in an internship with the court system, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Finally, let me just say a few words about the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Our court has 7 justices who are elected statewide to a 10-year term. It is the oldest Supreme Court in the nation, nearly 300 years old. The court was formally established pursuant to the Judiciary Act of 1722, but it was actually a carryover of William Penn's Provincial Court, established in 1684. Thus, our court is older even than the U.S. Supreme Court. When I was elected in 2007, I was only the 2nd woman in history to win a seat on the court. I'm currently in line to become the first female Chief Justice of Pennsylvania. And thank you. After 300 years, I think it's about time. I'm privileged and proud to be performing my judicial duties on the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. I recognize that my oath of office is a sacred trust, and I'm committed to continuing to serve the people of this Commonwealth with integrity, with dignity, and with respect for the law and the litigants. In conclusion, I wanted to leave you with some words I've always loved from Ralph Waldo Emerson's answer to the question, what is success? It is to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. By this measure, in one way or another, I believe that each of us has found success. Thank you so much.
Did I not tell you that she was an inspirational speaker?
Thank you.
Although she didn't tell you one thing. It was over 60 years ago that Harry McCloskey introduced me and my wife, which is over 60 years ago. Well, your sisters know it. Don't you talk to each other?
Not about you. Everett, I'm just kidding.
At this time, we do have some presentations to give out. And I'm going to ask that Mayor Court, if he would come forward, please.
Officiate a lot of basketball, but I can't see without these, so before everybody starts, I got to put these on. What I have here is a proclamation for one of our own. For one of her accomplishments, all of her accomplishments and achievements. We are very proud of you, Debra. So here goes. Whereas, educated with honors at Chatham College, University of Pittsburgh Law School, and University of Virginia Law School. Whereas professional experience as litigation attorney for U.S. Steel, established her private law practice, elected as judge of Pennsylvania Superior Court. Whereas earned many awards and honors throughout her career for promoting equality for women in the legal profession. There's more. Whereas reporting and recommendations to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Elder Law Task Force. Whereas through our professional Pennsylvania judicial system, by creating and recommending punishment for offenders, and as a voice for support for children and adults who may otherwise never would have been heard. So therefore, I, Mayor Anthony J. Court, hereby proclaim September 16th, 2019 as Debra McCloskey Todd Day in our fair city. Thank you, Debra. We couldn't be more proud of you. And thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next presentation, County Commissioner Dan Vogler.
Thank you, Everett, and good evening, everyone. And I would ask if President Judge Motto and Judge Cox would be kind enough to join me. It's been delightful to hear from you this evening, Justice Todd, and I always enjoy being in your company. Please accept, as soon as the judges have a chance to make brief remarks, we do have something from the elected officials of Lawrence County for you, and we want you to know how much we appreciate all that you've done in your career, and we want you to know that the people of Lawrence County are exceptionally proud of you. With that, I'll turn it over to Judge Motto.
If I were asked to provide just 2 words that best describe Justice Todd's tenure on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, those words would be competence and leadership. I know I speak on behalf of myself, Judge Cox, and our entire bench, which also include Judge John Hodge and Judge Acker, that we truly feel very blessed and fortunate to be part of a judicial system that includes Justice Todd. Her decisions and her opinions are written with clarity, precision, are academic, intellectual, and provide us with the important guidance that we trial judges need to deal with the important issues that face us every day. And it's not just about Lawrence County and Ellwood City, because the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania benefits from her dedication. We are truly fortunate to have Justice Todd. Thank you.
I hear everyone calling you Debra or Debbie, and Judge Motto and I are calling you Madam Justice. But I think with her talk and her speech tonight, you see the dynamic leadership she brings to the Supreme Court. And as Judge Motto said, we see her from a different perspective than you do, in that we go to the conferences, we read her opinions and how she guides the law in Pennsylvania. And she does an excellent, excellent job in all that she does, not just in her opinions, but all the other programs she brought to help the court system. And again, congratulations on your award tonight. Thank you.
Justice Todd, would you accept this, please, with our compliments?
Thank you.
Would you mind opening?
Oh, I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
Something gonna pop out?
No, no.
Oh, look at that, how beautiful. Ah, that is gorgeous. Look at that. That's beautiful. It is, in case you didn't know, it's the Lawrence County Courthouse, yes. Yes, thank you.
In Lawrence County.
Congratulations. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it. Everett, I'll hug you. Oh, thanks, Judge. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the lovely gift, too.
Our next presenter happens to be the second vice president of the Historical Society. And he deserves all the credit for bringing this group together this evening. He's done a tireless, he's run out of energy, but he's always restored. But that's talking about him. But you know who actually does all the work? His wife, Mary Ann. At this time, Mr. Don Vicari to make a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're gonna have to get this down about 3 feet. Okay? No, I can't. Thank you all for coming tonight. This is a great moment for Ellwood City and for me. Never did I expect when I called Rhonda on the phone and asked that Justice Todd would come and be honored in her community. And she called me back and said, yes, when do you want to do it? And we worked out the date. And I'll tell you what, I was nervous for the next 3 months. But when your class 1975 classmates voted you most likely to succeed, did they ever think that you were going to be the Pennsylvania Supreme Court? Or where did they think you were going to go? They obviously recognized something special in you. I think it was because you were from Ellwood City. Those present tonight, along with your classmates, are honored to have you here honoring us. But there's a story about you, too. And I'm going to make one comment and let my wife make the other ones because, as you mentioned, she's a detective and she got on to find out a lot about you. Okay. We join us tonight in honoring you with your presence. Apparently, your roommate at Chatham College, Robin Malloy, recognized your talents too. So she wrote a book called Piano Girl. I would recommend you all get down to the library tomorrow and ask them to get the book for you, because it is a great story, a human interest story about Debra. Can I call you Debra? Absolutely. Okay. Well, one of the things I read in the book, my wife read the whole thing. She highlighted everything, ran out of a blue highlighter. And it said that Robin asked her to go audition for the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Circus.
Oh, thank God I wasn't a stripper, Dawn.
So guess what? Deborah said, yeah, we'll go. I'll go with you. So they went. And they were chosen for the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Yes.
But she backed out.
I didn't accept. They made me an offer.
Yeah, I know they made you an offer. But you told Robin you weren't going. That was one thing. I'm going to let my wife tell you about some of the other things, but it really describes how great Ellwood City is and how great she is to us. Because right here is what Ellwood City is all about. It's indicative. I never expected 160 people here tonight. I thought 3 or 4 and that'd be it, but that's okay. So I'm going to turn it over to my wife, Mary Ann. And she did a lot of work for me for putting the program together. Okay, you'll have to come up now because I can't get there.
I thought they were for your wife.
In honor of Ellwood City, in the Ellwood City Historical Society, I present you this bouquet of roses, okay? Keep them nice and fresh and everything else.
Thank you, sir.
I know that this story is in your program, but in case you haven't had the chance to read it, it's very funny. And we're also just saying it right now to put it on the record. It is from the book Piano Girl. It is by Robin Malloy Goldsby. Now she writes, my roommate at Chatham College is Debra McCloskey. Debra comes from Ellwood City, Pennsylvania, where she's a local hero for having won the Lawrence County Junior Miss Pageant. The day she won, the Ellwood City newspaper ran a 2-inch bold headline that said, Debra McCloskey wins Junior Miss. The entire front page was dedicated to descriptions of the pageant, the talent presentation, Debbie's wardrobe, and interviews with her proud parents, Blanche and Harry. At the bottom of the page, in fine print, was a single sentence, Richard Nixon resigns. Story on page 6. Blanche is there. Just one more part of this little story. At Chatham, Deb is a political science and theater major. She grew up in a blue-collar working-class home. Even though my father is a jazz drummer, Deb thinks my family is rich because we've got matching towels in the bathroom. I think she's rich because she has an entire town worshiping at her feet.
Mr. Robert Morabito, better known in Ellwood City as Bob Morabito.
Thank you, Everett. I was talking with my friend Eddie Lamery, an attorney, which can always be dangerous for a layperson. He was trying to explain the concept of stare decisis, which is that everything the courts do is based on precedents. And I said, well, what happens if there's no precedent? And Eddie said, facts. Facts is what you argue. And then I came to to the realization that there is no precedent for Madam Justice Todd. She is one of a kind, only the second woman on the Supreme Court, and soon to be the very first woman to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So we wanted to give her a plaque that is basically the cover to your program that says "Welcome Home," because those are our true feelings. So on behalf of the board and the members of the Ellwood City Historical Society, Madam Justice, welcome home.
And one more presentation. And this just fell into place at the right time. It was just recently that the Ellwood City Area Historical Society decided that they would try to honor individuals, businesses, different civic organizations, things like that with proclamation. So we started with a proclamation this evening. And so I would like to present the proclamation from the Ellwood City Area Historical Society, whereas the ECAHS, which collects, protects, and preserves the history of Ellwood City area, whereas Justice Debra McCloskey Todd has contributed to the unique history of the Ellwood City area, and they stapled the pages together. That her remarkable and unique accomplishments bringing great credit to the Ellwood City area, do hereby proclaim Justice Debra McCloskey Todd an Ellwood City area historical treasure. And along with that, we have the village pieces, and there's the one from the Cat's Meow of the Ellwood City Lincoln High School, from where she graduated. This brings us to the end of our monthly historical meeting. I hope you enjoyed and appreciate what has transpired here this evening. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.